and you're listening to Communities Live on Sheffield Live Radio 93.2 FM with me, Susie Casson and T-Boy. I'm joined in the studio by Lottie Bennett from Lottie's School for Dogs. Welcome, Lottie.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. So can you tell us first of all a bit about your experience with dogs?
I didn't actually have a dog growing up. We just weren't in a situation to have our own dog. Both my parents worked full time, and I also had health issues, so having a dog it wasn't fair on the dog, you know. But every year, never fail, Christmas and birthdays, top of the wish list was a dog, and all the family had dogs, so I was quite kind of used to being around them, and I always wanted one. But it wasn't until I was actually 17 that I did finally get a dog as an early 18th birthday present. And then since then, I've done a lot with sort of rescue dogs and foster dogs, and got into dog training and obviously got a lot more experience from there. So
Brilliant. And do you have a dog yourself at the moment?
I have. I've got 3 at home, 3 Dalmatians. So yeah, they're all nicely sort of spread apart from sort of 5 to 12. So yeah. Great.
And you run Lottie's School for Dogs. How did that start?
That was really to do with my 12-year-old. The oldest dog, because when I got her, she was such a nightmare. And I really, I had to learn a lot. I'd done a lot of research before I got her as my first dog, and I still wasn't prepared for what came home with me. And so I got into dog training that way and started learning a lot, and then helping at other dog training classes and that kind of thing. And then really it was when I realised I needed something a bit more flexible work hour wise because of my health, that I really wanted to sort of go into my own business. And I was studying French at university at the time, and realised that this really wasn't what I wanted to do anymore, and that dogs were the way that I wanted to go. So that was what I did.
Yeah, brilliant. So you run your own business. What kind of training do you offer?
We have everything from puppy sessions for the under 20 weeks. Just literally, there's not so much training there, it's just socialisation and getting them used to hanging out with people and other dogs. And last night at puppy class we had a cat, and they all got very used to having a cat in the room and just got on with it. And then we go through, so we have, I deal with behaviour problems on a one-to-one basis as well. And then we have the Pet Dog Ambassador Scheme, which is through the PPG, which is a Pet Professional Guild, and that you can earn your awards level 1, level 2 and up for different obedience, basically. So it's pet obedience and behaviour problems mainly.
Yeah, amazing. And that area seems to have really developed, doesn't it? I mean, it's like the researchers revealing more and more about how to train dogs.
Yeah, there's an awful lot coming about, and the movement really for modern training is really moving forward. There are still a lot of trainers that hang back with the more traditional techniques, but now there's been so much research happened over a long time actually. It's only just now starting to kind of come into the pet dog world really, because we were learning about positive reinforcement and operant conditioning way back with B.F. Skinner, so it was a long time ago that this started, but really in the last few years it's really, last few decades, couple of decades, it's really kind of come about.
Yeah, because I had a look on your website and it said you have a force-free philosophy.
Yeah.
Lotties School for Dogs. What is that?
Force-free, it's basically where we don't apply aversives, so anything that the dog finds uncomfortable or painful or just intimidating, we don't apply any of those to the training. Sometimes, obviously, with a behaviour problem, there's going to be an element of that in the management protocol. So, you have a dog that really doesn't like visiting the vets, but they're poorly, they've got to go to the vets. But we would then take that back and work on it with a behaviour modification where we're introducing it to them at a rate that they can deal with. So we call that keeping it under threshold. So the dog will have a threshold that they can deal with, and we always keep them under that and build up their tolerance of things. And so we won't, like I say, there's no physical manipulation or intimidation or anything like that with the Forcefree.
Yeah, that's good. So you mentioned dogs with behavioural problems. Do you think that any dog can be trained, every dog can be trained?
I think every dog has the potential to be. There are elements of genetic predisposition within breeds, so that's why you use border collies for herding, you know. So if you've, and it does come from the parents, as you know, the direct parents rather than the breed years ago, you know, years back. So if you do have a dog that's had issues with the parents or during the early development while they were still with the parents, that will be much harder to work with. But there's always something that you can do with them, even just to improve their quality of life or what you're able to share with them, kind of thing. So I think every dog can be, but not every dog can be trained to the same level. Unless, of course, you are dealing with a neurological problem rather than a behavioural problem. And sadly, some dogs can't be rehabilitated. So
yeah, so each case is individual, really, isn't it?
It really is. Both. It does depend both on the dog and on the situation in which it's living, because if you don't have the right situation to work with the dog and you can't put them into that situation, then you actually are dealing with a problem that you can't, you know, it does depend on the owner working with it as well, and that you're able to, you know, if a dog can't be left, you have to work on that at a level that the dog's comfortable with. And if you can't get a dog sitter in and you can't send them off to daycare or whatever, there's no, you know, you have to have some flexibility there.
Yeah. Wow, sounds amazing. And you also have the Kids and Canines project. What's that?
We started the Kids and Canines project because of the rate of dog bites in children. And it basically comes from a lack of education, children not knowing how to approach dogs or not knowing to ask before they do. And with me owning Dalmatians, that I get that a lot. You know, wherever you go, you gather attention, but a lot of people will just let their children run up because Dalmatians are seen to be friendly dogs. And so we started the Kids and Canines project, where we go into schools or extra organisations like the Scouts and things like that, and we teach kids about asking before they approach a dog and how to then approach a dog safely, because obviously dogs have a certain way that they prefer to be approached. And we also put into that a little bit about breed-specific legislation as well. So we show pictures of different breeds and ask the kids which ones are more likely to be dangerous. You often get the German Shepherds, the Dobermans, the Staffies, when in actual fact those are some of the friendliest. So we try and combat that while they're young as well. So that, you know, that they realise that any dog can bite. The Dalmatian that they're running towards might do. You know, so yeah.
That sounds a great idea. And I mean, getting a dog, a particular puppy, to train is a major commitment. What would you say to someone who's considering doing that?
Obviously, check your lifestyle suits a dog. You know, how often can you be home for them? How much exercise are they going to get? The training that they're going to get, especially while they're little. The amount of socialisation that they're going to get, which does need to continue all the way through their life as well. But also research the breed that you're getting, because dogs are so different. You've got different personalities within a breed, but then you've got different breeds can be so different to each other. And very often people will get a breed because they like the look of the dog, as opposed to the dog suiting their lifestyle and their habits. So lots and lots of research, and then making sure that you're going to be around for them, that you've got a backup plan, and remembering that this is, you know, sort of 15 years that you're, you know, average that you're going for. So
brilliant. So Lottie School for Dogs is based in Sheffield, going very well. What do you find most challenging about running the business?
Giving the puppies back. It's probably, to be honest, I think the hardest thing with the business and the saddest thing with the business is when you can't help somebody, you know, because either they don't come back to you or the situation just doesn't allow for it. And I find that very challenging. And then keeping up with the paperwork as well.
And what do you enjoy most about it?
Well, I get to work with puppies and dogs every day, you know, and also I love the owners that really put the work in. You can tell the ones that are really, really dedicated to putting the work in, and I have so many of those, and they just make it so worthwhile doing, because they really do reach their dog's potential.
So that's brilliant. Can you tell us again how we can find out more about Lottie School for Dogs?
Yeah, we're on Facebook, so that's facebook.com/Dog Training Sheffield. We've got a Twitter handle on Twitter, which is the same, and the website is lottiesdogs.co.uk. So we're kind of just dotted about all over.